You good, Al? Okay.
Well, for the 30th year, I'm not sure I've ever been prouder in a team. And, you know, there's so much coach speak and things that go on in programs all over. But these guys gave me everything they had and drained them of everything. They should take a week off. There's nothing left in them. And that's kind of the way it was in the locker room. It was a tear-jerking locker room because they knew they spilled it all, and yet we thought we started out poorly, which we've had that little bit of a problem lately, and we just couldn't recover from that 17-0 run. It wasn't through lack of effort. It wasn't through lack of anything except we played a good team, and Broom hurt us early. We made some adjustments, did a little better job on him after he hit those first, I think, 6 or 8 points. And I thought we missed some good shots in there, but maybe some of it was their defense too. So all in all, you know, you don't get defined. Unfortunately, your last game wears with you. I'm asking these guys that if it does, make sure it does, that you do something about it in your life. And for Jaden, he's not done playing basketball either, but all in all, most unbelievable year I've had, the most connected year I've had, and I just appreciate what these guys did for myself, our program, our university, and our community. So, questions for them?
Okay, so questions for the student athletes. Let's get started. Third row on the left.
Jonathan Schaub, Spartan Nation, Spartans on SI. For the players, Coach talked about it being an unbelievable year. When you look at the year, if you think about it, what are some of the things that took you all from where you were maybe when you went to California and had that trip that you all got to get to this point today? What are some of the things that took you all the way?
Jaden, why don't you start, please?
I would just say the talks and meetings that we had with each other as players and with the coaches after that trip to California. We lost 2 back-to-back, and we didn't want that to, you know, stop how our season was going, and I feel like we just turned it around after that.
Jackson, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, kind of what Jaden said. When we went to that trip in California, and that was our first time when we realized, that we can get beaten if we don't bring our best game, and if we don't bring it first thing. And to what Jaden said, that's when we came together as a team and really told each other, hey, if we don't bring it every game, then they're going to jump us. And that's when us players really made a choice that every game we have to start out as best we can.
Third row on the far left.
Bob Wadowski, Detroit News. For Jackson and Jace, they took the lead double digits, but you guys kept coming back. And can you describe your emotions in the final couple of minutes when it didn't look like there was going to be another comeback to overcome it?
Jackson.
When they got a big lead early, there's something about, every player and coach in this program never gives up until there's nothing left on the clock. And obviously we didn't get off to a great start the way we wanted to, but we just kept fighting and fighting. And that's what's so special about this group of guys, because no matter how bad it may seem, we never give up, and we never let our minds, go down that hole of, this isn't going to work out. No, we kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And in the last minutes, it's very emotional, but it's hard because I love every person in this program, and it's been a really hard journey, and I love these guys to death, and I wish we could have had a different outcome, but we couldn't get it done today. So I love this group of guys, man, more than anything.
Jace, you want to add to that?
To what Jack said, I mean, we're never going to just lay down and give up. That's not the Spartan way. So when we got to those last couple minutes, we knew that we had to fight because we weren't trying to get embarrassed. that's not what we came here to do. So just fight it to the end, final buzzer. Unfortunately, didn't go our way tonight.
Far right here on the third row.
Thank you. Jim Comparoni, SpartanMag.com. Thank you guys for coming out and answering questions. We appreciate that. Jaden, are you able to have a feeling of accomplishment now? And if not right now, when do you think you will and feel really good about the season? When do you think that will happen? How are you feeling about it right now?
I don't know when that'll happen. I mean, it's fresh in my mind right now, to be honest, so it's just going to sting for a while. So I just got to deal with it.
On the aisle to the right, fourth row.
Hey, Gunter Schroeder, USA Today. Wanted to ask Jason, Jaden, it seemed like Auburn was really trying to take the drives away from the guards when you guys were trying to get to the basket. Was there anything in particular they did that you thought made it tough on you guys in particular?
I mean, they got versatile defenders. You know, you drive, they coming over to help. I feel like we missed some easy looks at the basket early, so, yeah.
Jace?
Yeah, I think it was just tough. You know, they were icing the ball screens on us, and then when we drove, we see 4 or 5 guys coming at you. So you gotta try to make a play. They rotated really fast. They rotated well. They were defending really well, and it was just tough for us.
Time for one more for the student athletes, or I'll let them go. Gentlemen, you guys can go. Thank you very much.
Good job, guys.
Okay, let's continue with questions for Coach Izzo, third row on the right by the aisle.
Mike Griffith, Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Coach, you've dominated the SEC like few others. I think that's the first time you lost to an SEC team in the tournament, and I think you've won 7 out of the last 9 that you played them in the regular season. What would you say about that league and Bruce Pearl? You know, you ran into him when he was in Tennessee as well.
I mean, the league's been great all year. It's there's no question about it. I mean, they had the top teams. They competed every week against each other. You know, I think it's amazing that you know, they were pick 1 in the country, I think, early, and they survived most of the year. And they went through a little bit of a down spout there, and part of it was Broom was hurt there for a little bit. I think they had one other kid out for a while. But you know, we did most of the things we wanted to do, except guard Broom a little bit better. You know, it wasn't the points he scored that got us. We're used to giving up points and making sure they don't get threes. A pretty good three-point shooting team. We held them to 28%. It was just, you know, he was 10 for 13. That's why he's an All-American. That's why he's a Player of the Year candidate. And, you know, did a hell of a job. But I thought that stretch early, you know, they went on a 17-0, and we just turned the ball over, you know. I mean, and this has been a problem for us a little bit. Not the turnovers. We had 9 for the game, which is phenomenal against a team like this. But it was in the spurts that we had them. And, boy, that stretch we had at the beginning. At one time, we had 4 or 5 offensive rebounds and kicked it out and had shot after shot after shot. They just didn't go in, you know, and that happens. And so I'd say Bruce has done a great job, because it's hard to keep a team, as I remember back to those days, from start to finish. You know, the fans were great today. I mean, I don't think it affected us, and I say that because we've played in some of the greatest venues and been, but they were great. I mean, they were great, but I don't think that's why we lost. I think we lost because they played better than we did. They didn't shoot so well, 42, but that includes his 10 for 13. So the rest of the guys, we did a good enough job on. We just didn't score it enough ourselves, and we didn't, the turnovers were in critical times that led to layups.
Down front here on the right, first row.
Robbie Listella, Bracketeer.org. Tom, I spoke with Jaden, Jace, and Cohen yesterday, and whether it was Jaden with his injury, Jace as a freshman, or Cohen getting his first start in the Sweet 16, they all said that your trust in them helped them gain confidence. What is it like been helping them grow in their game, and is that something you'd agree with?
Oh, yeah, it's the greatest. I mean, you know, the greatest thing is players coming back, but the second greatest thing is watch people trying to reach the goals. You know, I always tell them you got to dream it, and they dreamed it early. You got to work for it and have a goal, and they had the goal, and today they lived the reality of it, you know, and they were, you know, I mean, it wasn't like the game was that close that we felt like we could have won it. I say we felt like we should have won it because we didn't. Could have won it. I think we could have. And yet, you never know, man. You never know if you get another chance. And I think that's the hardest thing when you're talking to a team after, you know, you just want to say, remember this moment so next year, because Cleve's taught me that. And some other guys, you know, you start somewhere and you get to a Sweet 16. Next year was Final Four. Next year you won it. The problem is you got some guys that don't get that extra chance, so it's hard to say that in the locker room. It's a really unnerving thing, but all in all, I mean, God, it's going to be really hard to beat the connectivity and the camaraderie of this team. And we were young, you know. I mean, we more or less started 2 freshmen, and our 2 guards were freshmen. So, you know, we got some work to do yet, but I love the guys I got in that locker room.
We've got less than a minute, so let's take this question, and that'll be it.
Coach Jonathan Schaap, Spartan Nation, Spartans on SI. You talked about this team coming a long way. What are some of the things your staff, the team did to really make that curve? Because not all of your teams you felt like you've been able to pull as much out of as this one.
Yeah, there's no question. This was probably the number one. But as far as pulling out what I thought when we left this building against Kansas back in November, I think it was, you know, there were a lot of questions in a lot of people's minds, but some in mine. And I thought my staff did an incredible job. My trainers, I mean, we had no injuries all year. I think part of that was playing a lot of people and not wearing people down, but it's not easy to play a lot of people. It's not easy to accept it as a player, and it's not easy to do it as a coach. And I felt like, you know, were reinvigorated me to realize there's still people out there that care about winning and care about getting better and care about playing for the school they're at and care about playing with the players they're with in this day and age when it's getting a little more selfish. That is rewarding. That is exciting. That is invigorating. I usually try to stick to 4-letter words and under, but I'm going way out of my line right now, and it was invigorating. And so who knows, you know, who knows what the future brings, but I guess for the first time they got 4 1s in the Final Four. Is that true? Second time. You know what, when we went in Minnesota, my 3rd one, I think we had 3 1s and a 2, and so that means that the people that get all the criticism, besides the coaches and the media, the selection committee must have done a pretty damn good job. Give them credit. And I do think in watching, you know, I watched some of that Houston game today, and ironically, I was hoping to get there. You know, I took Kelvin Sampson's spot at Michigan State, as weird as that sounds, as a GA. And so it would have been nice to get there with him. Judd would have been looking down, complaining to both of us that we don't play any zone. But I think of Rick Barnes and the job he did. There were so many people that did a good job. And guess what? Somebody's going to go home sad. Today it's the Spartans. Next Saturday it'll be, you know, 2 more teams, and next Monday it'll be 1 more team. And I don't want to make it as trite as it sounds, because it's not. And if you've been in a locker room, you know, there's some locker rooms that people are bitching and complaining, and then there's some locker rooms where people are crying and hugging. It was a crying and hugging locker room, and that means that we had something special. So I'm going to appreciate that. I'm sure it'll feel better in a couple days. And I give a lot of credit to Auburn. I think they're well coached. I think they did a good job. I think Broom is the real deal. Does things kind of effortlessly. And I thought those guards didn't play as well as they've been playing. If you want the truth, that we have something to do with it or not. But you know what? As they say, when your number 1 guy brings it, and you know he's been around a few years, they deserve to move on. So thank you very much. Atlanta was great. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Coach.
And I'll see you guys somewhere.